today's show, tributes flow as the AFL celebrates Eddie's 300th game.
Getting down to business, life after football.
And where now for the Crows in 2019?
Hi everyone and welcome to this Easter Sunday edition of The Crows Show, brought to you by Optus. I'm Mark Bickley.
And I'm Alana Smith. And Mark, on Eddie's big day we can reflect on how football has been both cruel and kind to him over the journey.
Yes, he's certainly fortunate to have had very few injuries through his career.
But at the same time he has had to endure terrible racial slurs and taunts.
Now he's reached the magic 300. Fans across the AFL can salute one of the most mercurial players the game has ever seen.
There's Eddie Betts again, keeps it alive, and he didn't even get it all. He turned to the ground and he says, I'm Eddie Betts, I can do that sort of thing.
Eddie feels enormous pride in joining the 300 club of elite Indigenous players.
Adam Good, Mickey O'Loughlin's, Kevin Wangini, Danny McLeod, Sean Burgoyne, who's probably will take out the most games for an Aboriginal player. So, you know, those are unbelievable names, and I feel kind of, you know, to feel kind of weird to be put in that bracket.
The football community was quick to back the Crows star after he condemned a person on Instagram who left an offensive comment on a photo of himself.
But he also feels continuing pain from racial abuse directed at Indigenous footballers.
It's hurting me inside. It's hurting not just myself, the other Indigenous boys at the footy club. It's hurting my wife and my family. So it shows that it's still out there, that we need to stamp it out of our game. You know, this year I think we caught more racism than we did last year, and it's only been round 4.
He admits to a low point.
I lost a bit of passion for footy, and then my kids brought it back for me. I got the joy back, and that was purely through my family and my kids. They really loved footy and got me enjoying it, even though, you know, you had a tough year.
Eddie is forever grateful for his years at Carlton and recalls the sadness of leaving.
I went home and cried for 3 hours and thinking, what am I making the right choice? And I had to pack up the whole house and move across here to Adelaide, which I believe will probably be the best decision I've ever made in my footy career.
And he'll never forget 2017.
The best year and probably the worst year as well, by losing the grand final. So that would probably be one of the highlights of my career, and the most joyful one is making the grand final.
But he pays a price for his notoriety.
I treat everyone how I want to be treated, and I'm always nice to everybody. I always give everyone time. But yeah, it's challenging at times when you want to just go to a cafe with your family and, you know, there's people taking photos of you. But I guess that's just, you know, where you are in your position. You know, you're a role model to everybody, and you're in the spotlight, you know, every week.
Was there any doubt? Never!
So how much more excitement can we expect?
You're hearing stuff in the media about, oh, he's 32, hadn't kicked any goals. Is it the end of, you know, Eddie Betts? And I personally, I don't believe it's the end. I would like to play for as long as I can. I've still got one more year left on my contract after this, and time will tell. We'll see after that.
What a player Eddie is, and an even better bloke to go with it. We'll hear more tributes to Eddie as our show unfolds. And while Eddie has spent 15 years at the elite level, the AFL is not a long-term career for most players. Injury or list turnover will derail their hopes for a life in football. That's why the League and the Crows encourage players to always have their eyes fixed firmly on a future after the game. With the help of Revolution Roofing, we discover that for one group at West Lakes, that means business.
The average career of an AFL player is less than 5 years, not even 100 games. When their time is up, these players want to move seamlessly into another workplace. Through the club, they're studying for a diploma in business, and a day with the books has other benefits.
I know footy can consume you. It's a really tough industry, and if things aren't going your way, it can be really, really hard to deal with things. To have a full day doing this, and then also requires you to do some in your own time as well. It gives me something to do while I'm at home, when I may just be sitting on the couch doing not much.
Dan Lima has been lecturing different players for 3 years now, and says the course prepares them for a range of career options.
They can move into marketing, they can move into sales, they can move into management, whether it be product management or people management, leadership positions. It really is a blank canvas.
He singles out Taylor Walker for praise, saying he sets a great example to others. The skipper, who part owns a hotel, is completing a business degree at university.
As a club, you can be very proud of the fact that the students have been very focused, very professional, and they haven't missed the beat, quite frankly.
Of course, business is only one career path. All players are encouraged to undertake study or work experience for a life after football. Well, those business skills will certainly hold them in good stead, no matter what they do. Well, unfortunately, the Crows have had their worst start to a season in 5 years. Mark, how do we try and explain these losses?
Yeah, it's a really tough one, isn't it? I had really high hopes going into this year and the pre-season looked great, but right at the moment they're just playing nowhere near what they're capable of. And if we look at the competition, it's such an even competition. If you are 5 or 10% off your best, you're not going to win, and that's what we've seen so far this year.
Well, where are some of the specific areas you're looking for improvement?
Well, the contested footy is the big one. If you don't win the ball, particularly in the midfield, and it goes to the other end of the ground, it just makes it so hard to have to go the length of the field to try and score, and we certainly saw that against North Melbourne. So for me, I think they just have to win the ball a lot more often, and at the moment, the last 2 weeks in particular, they've been very poor in that area.
It looks like some of the experienced players seem to be down on confidence. I imagine that's not an easy fix?
No, it's not, particularly in the forward half. I think if you think about Taylor Walker and Josh Jenkins and even Eddie Betts up until the weekend, just struggled a bit. So there's only one way out of that, and that's just training really hard and just keep on working on your game. And I've absolutely no doubt those three guys in particular are really conscientious of the way they go about it, and they'll certainly bounce back. Okay, well, going forward, are there one or two positions they really need to think seriously about? Well, I think if you're looking at setups at the year's end, the ruck situation is something I think they need more depth. Riley O'Brien, he's only played 4 games of footy, so he's going to improve, but I think you need to have more depth around that. Of course, Sam Jacobs moving towards the end of his career. And also I think they need to get some speed around the midfield. I think we've got some great midfielders, but not enough of them have got electrifying speed, and I'd love to see a bit more of that in the side. All right, well, of course, at the start of the season, the Crows were tipped as a top 4 side. Can they still get there? Well, I'm optimistic, and I've got a nice little stat that might give people some hope, and that was back in 97 and 98. At this exact same time, we were 1-3 both years. So if we can do it in those 2 years, why not 2019? I like your line of thinking. Thanks very much, Mark. Well, do stay with us. Still to come on The Crow Show, we'll take a nostalgic look at what used to be Football Park.
He's an incredible player, super talented. He keeps you on your toes. I know he likes showing up for Showdown, so this year, Ed, if you could just, maybe give us a chop out. But yeah, you don't get to 300 games playing small forward unless you've got a serious bag of tricks.
If you haven't been to West Lakes recently, then you're in for a shock. The once vast concrete stadium we all knew as Football Park no longer exists. The Oval itself remains a Crows training venue, but the stands have made way for future housing development. But of course, many wonderful memories remain for generations of footballers.
It's been an incredible journey for players, but supporters, administrators, for I think anyone in SA who loved footy. Footy Park holds great memories.
The Football Park is the home of football in South Australia.
For me, it was the amphitheatre, the way that it captured all the noise. The surface was just magnificent.
As a young fella, I came here and watched it built. My mum would drive me here and would look at the dirt and the build as a fascinated 9-year-old.
What the next incarnation is, we'll wait and see. But it'll still always be Footy Park, and it'll still be some turf there, and I'm sure many people will come along and they'll walk around there, whether it's walk their dog or whether it's kick the footy with their son or daughter. There'll still be that connection there, I think.
Many Crows fans look back fondly on those years at Football Park. Now, while most of the spotlight falls on Eddie Betts today, we can't forget it's also Brodie Smith's 150th, and what a valuable player he is for the club. Off the field, Smithers is always good for a laugh, and this season his teammates are testing his memory, all thanks to Thomas Farms.
This week we've got Andy Otten. Let's see how much I know about Otto.
All right, bro, start off nice and easy. What car do I drive?
You've got the soccer mum Mazda.
That is correct. Ready for the family. All right, second one, you should know this. What are my 2 dogs' names?
Bad and worse. Otis and something. Otis and...
What, Nala? You've met her a couple of times?
Otis and Nala.
How long have I been at the club for?
12.
Well
12
done.
years.
Got that one. Next one. You don't see many of these, but what is my go-to goal celebration when I finally kick one?
The double fist.
Yes. What is my daughter's name?
Mailer.
Well done.
Yes.
Well done. All right, lucky last. Do I usually wear my socks up or down?
Up. Or have you've changed? You've back to down now.
Yes, I thought I'd go you there. Well done, mate.
Fatigue, so I got to look quicker.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us, Otto.
No worries, mate. Surprised me there. Well done.
So far, Don Pyke is unbeaten in our one-hole par 3 golf challenge at Glenelg. But today he's up against someone renowned to have a good eye, former Test batsman Greg Blewett. With the help of Optus, let's find out how he went.
Hi guys, welcome to the Glenelg Golf Club for the Optus one-hole challenge. Today I'm joined by a former Australian cricketer in Greg Blewett. Welcome on, Bluey.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Good, and you're a very good golfer, a state amateur golfer.
Yeah, that was a while ago now. That was 6 or 7 years ago when I had a bit more time on my hands, but I'm remarried, got a young family, so unfortunately not playing as much golf as I used to.
Right, we'll have a chat on the way in a minute, but I'll give you the tee. Away you go. We've got about 90 metres down here, little par 3 at Glenelg. So.
Okay.
Very nice, very nice.
Are we heckling, or now that I'm done?
Are we... What, now you're on, you reckon you can start to give me something in the backswing? Oh, get down.
It's turning over a bit on the breeze.
Bluey, 40-odd tests for Australia and stellar career with South Australia. Fondest memory in your cricketing days?
Oh, a couple, I reckon, Pikey. The Shield final win for South Australia. That's our last Shield win, can you believe?
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. That was 94, 95.
Ooh, okay.
I think my first ever tour was against the West Indies, and we beat them over there, which was sort of regarded as the real change in power. The West Indies were the superpower before us, and then we had a really great period for about 10, 15 years after that. I faced Curtly Ambrose a lot.
Yeah.
You know, people say, oh, you know, were you scared facing these fast bowlers? Well, the most scared I was the fear of failure, and he used to get me out all the time.
So 2 on the green.
Mine's a bit closer,
Yours is closer, so I'll go first, but we'll see how we go.
Okay.
Oh, you got to hit it.
Oh no, a bit short. Righto, solid 3 though. Oh, I've pulled that.
Oh, it's come down low.
Pulled the
man off your handicap. I'm happy to give you that one.
Right. Thanks, mate. Happy with that.
Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you coming out and joining us. Yeah, 2 parts.
No worries.
Good day's office.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Go on now.
Well, make sure you're watching next week when Greg's son Sam will be Don's next challenger. The 4-year-old was runner-up in a global competition to find the world's best young golf swing. Among the judges who critiqued Sam's 1-minute video entry were Jack Nicholas, Annika Sorenstam and respected instructor David Ledbetter. Can't wait for that one. OK, when Mark returns after the break, why the showdown looms as the Crows' season-defining game.
Well, first of all, he's a great guy. Yeah, Eddie's just a terrific bloke. But then as a footballer, mercurial, entertaining, plays the game the way it should be played. He's a champion.
Showdowns always assume extra significance for both the Crows and the Power, regardless of where they are on the ladder. But according to the advertisers Reece Humphrey, their Round 8 clash looms as a season-defining game for Adelaide.
Well, who would have thought after a month of the AFL season that both SA clubs, Adelaide and Port Adelaide, find themselves sitting outside the top 8? Adelaide, for mine, has been the more disappointing of the two. We're yet to see any evidence of such high-octane, free-flowing footy from the pre-season flowing into the regular year. It's only round 5, but at this stage, all roads now lead to the showdown in round 8. In all likelihood, Adelaide could go into the clash against Port Adelaide at 4-3, with games against Gold Coast, St Kilda and Fremantle coming up. Whether or not Port Adelaide goes in at 3-4 or 4-3 or anything else, it doesn't change the fact that it's going to be a huge showdown and potentially season-defining for both clubs.
Thanks, Reece. In 10 years at the Crows, Jason Porplyzia was certainly a fan favourite. An outstanding small forward, he was the club's leading goal scorer in 2009 and despite a string of injuries, went on to play 130 games. He returned to West Adelaide in 2015 and helped the Bloods win the flag. Now he's back at the Crows in a part-time role in the club's academies, and that's where we caught up with him thanks to Flight Centre.
The club's been really welcoming in getting me back involved, dipping back into the AFL environment and involved with the Academies program, the elite talent group, the acceleration group, and a bit of the father-son stuff happening there as well. So, you know, having some experience there with West Adelaide in that department as well has sort of flowed over, and that's been good to get involved at that level.
And there it is! The drought is over 32 years.
You know, it was a long time coming. 32 years between premierships for Westies was great to be involved in, and the first year back couldn't have gone any better.
And Whittlesey, the Porplyzia, at least close to best on the ground.
See some of the younger guys who were just starting out their AFL careers when I was sort of finishing up. You know, guys like Matty Crouch and Brad Crouch and Rory Laird and, you know, Brodie Smith, a few of those guys who are now established, you know, stars of the AFL competition has been good to see.
Oh, Porplyzia back with a flight. That's amazing commitment.
But for injuries, Porp should have been a 200-game player. Now the Crows have a good sprinkling of country boys in their squad. We'll catch up with one of them after the break.
Unbelievable, phenomenal, exciting, energetic, just a great person too.
The little-known Cowrie-Narracoorte-Tatiara League in the state southeast has certainly produced some well-known footballers. In recent years, the likes of Lachie Neale, Jack Trengove, Lincoln McCarthy and Jack Redden. And you can also add the name Darcy Fogarty. Thanks to Toyota Good for Footy, we caught up with the Lucindale lad who was playing A grade at the age of 15.
So I started playing at Lucindale Football Club. So went to school there till about year 9, and then I was lucky enough to board up at Rostrevor College in Adelaide. So played majority of me football for the next couple of years at Rostrevor, and then a little bit at Glenelg through the juniors. Rostrevor obviously takes priority over that, and then in year 12 I was lucky enough to play some senior footy at Glenelg, so that took a little bit of priority over school, so that was also a pretty good experience. So I was at the Bays from about under 16s to seniors, I guess, and yeah, playing senior football there was unreal. It was such a great experience, and yeah, something that I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
In 2019, the Toyota Good for Footy program aims to raise $1 million for grassroots clubs across Australia. Make sure your local club registers their interest at the website toyota.com.au/AFL raffle. Toyota also rewards our Crow in the Crowd each week. This year, our camera is roaming the Southern Plaza at Adelaide Oval, and it's where we spotted you. If you recognise yourself, contact the club by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, have some photo ID handy, and a merchandise pack will be yours.
That just about wraps up our show today, brought to you by Optus.
Now, next week, ahead of the Round 6 clash with the Saints, we'll talk to former Crow James Gallagher, who's now St Kilda's list manager.
Yes, and remember to keep an eye on our Twitter account @The Crow Show for all the latest news.
Yes, also check out the club website, afc.com.au, as well as Facebook and Instagram.
Once again, our congratulations to Eddie Betts. Let's hope he enjoys a win to cap off his big day.
Indeed. Thanks for your company, and we look forward to joining you again next Sunday
at 11:30 on 7. We'll see you then.
Bye for now.